Riva Handy Hailer.
Guaranteed at Vegas.com. Vegas from the inside.
Now to a developing story. With the measles outbreak, the vaccination debate is becoming a heated political football. Hillary Clinton is now weighing in, tweeting, "The science is clear. The earth is round, the sky is blue, and vaccines work. Let's protect all our kids. Grandmothers know best." But while she says the issue's settled, a lot of Republicans, a whole lot of Republicans disagree. Christie went into damage control mode after saying parents need, quote, some measure of choice with vaccines. And Senator Rand Paul said this.
I've heard of many tragic cases of walking, talking, normal children who wound up with profound mental disorders after vaccines. I'm not arguing vaccines are a bad idea. I think they're a good thing. But I think the parents should have some input. The state doesn't own your children. Parents own the children, and it is an issue of freedom.
But the theory linking mental disorders to vaccines has been thoroughly debunked. And today he had to walk that statement back too, saying, quote, "I did not say vaccines caused disorders, just that they were temporarily related. I did not allege causation. I support vaccines." Meanwhile, others on the right are using the issue to attack the big bad government.
I know what morals and values are right for my children, and I think we should not have an oppressive state telling us what to do.
I'm not trusting President Obama to tell me whether to vaccinate my kids, by the way.
This shouldn't be about President Obama, and it shouldn't be about politics. It should be about public health. Joining me now are Angela Rye and Jason Johnson. Thank you both for being here.
Glad to be here, Rev.
Angela, each of these Republicans have said they vaccinated their own kids. So why do they say the issue should be up for debate?
Because President Obama said something different than what they said. Rev, just like you said coming into this block, you know, this should not be about President Obama. So much so that now Dr. Rand Paul, let's not forget that, this medical doctor had to walk a journalist in with him to get a vaccination today to demonstrate just how supportive of getting vaccines he is. This is all crazy. It's politics, and this is not a political football. This is a measles outbreak that has now hit 100 people. As you know, Rev, more people than the Ebola outbreak has hit. So when you think about a Christie who wanted to quarantine someone who just displayed symptoms of having Ebola, not even diagnosed with having Ebola, it's interesting that his take on measles is so much different.
But Jason, this is not a party line issue. Some people on the right and left are opposed to vaccines. But we're not seeing high-profile Democrats kind of dabble in this issue. Why?
Well, because they recognize that it's not necessary for them to get votes. Like the Republicans are doing this because there's a strain of people in the Republican grassroots who don't trust the government, who don't trust Obama, and who think that anything that has to do with institutions is inherently bad. And I think this is a real problem for the Democratic Party, much less so than the Republican Party. You know, this is the same party that 25 years ago, you remember, Rev, that Barbara Bush sat down with babies that had HIV and hugged them and kissed them and played with them. Right. And she said to the public, look, you know, we don't want to believe in these sort of myths about HIV. I can't believe the Republican Party is going to these kinds of myths now when they used to have a much better history.
It brings me to this, Angela. A lot of Republicans are also coming out today in support of vaccines. Just today, Speaker Boehner, Senator Marco Rubio, Governor Bobby Jindal, and conservative commentator Dr. Ben Carson. All kids should be vaccinated, they said. Even Ted Cruz said children should be vaccinated. How do you see this playing out inside their party, specifically with 2016 and the 2016 field?
Well, what I think we're seeing is more of the same, Rev. You did mention there was also, I think, Representative Marsha Blackburn who said the same thing, that this should not be a political situation. This is something where we're needing to protect the lives of children. And the reality of this is, again, we're seeing the Republican Party being extremely divided. There's the extreme far right, there's the Libertarian wing and the Tea Party's folks kind of all involved there. But you also have Ted Cruz, who is a Tea Party member, having a very common sense approach to this. Another doctor, Ben Carson, and having a very common sense approach to this. And that's the first time I've said that since reading his book, Gifted Hands. So I think that this is, again, more of the same. They are very divided, and they are going to do whatever they need to do to peddle more votes.
But, Jason, it seems that the GOP has a problem with science. I mean, a little while ago it was climate change, now it's vaccines. It seems like there's a problem with them dealing with things that are scientifically well established.
Well, yeah, especially when you've got two doctors who are going to be running for president with Ben Carson and Rand Paul. But unfortunately, I don't think it's necessarily the Republicans have so much of an issue with science. They have an issue with anything that's going to go against their ideology. They don't believe that pollution is an issue, so they're going to fight the science that's against pollution. But notice, Republicans love science when they want to say that, when they want to argue against abortion. Republicans love science when they want to have any other sort of argument about how the economy works. So Republicans only like certain kinds of science that happen to work with their ideology. And unfortunately, when it comes to something like the measles, it's a communicable disease. We shouldn't be arguing about this because it's a safety issue, not a politics issue.
You know, Angela, a lot of this is about Republicans being anti-regulation, anti-government. But if you take that too far, it can be scary. It can even be gross. Listen to what Senator Tom Tillis said about the regulation that restaurant employees wash their hands after using the bathroom.
I said, I don't have any problem with Starbucks if they choose to opt out of this policy, as long as they post a sign that says, we don't require our employees to wash their hands after leaving the restroom. The market will take care of that.
I mean, really, Angela? Really?
No, Rev, really no. Like, that is so disgusting. Let me just say on behalf of Starbucks, as a Seattle, Washington born and raised person, that's disgusting. And I wish you would have used another example. I hope that Low Down Dirty, and that has a brand new meeting now, Low Down Dirty Tom Tillis never touches me or anyone close to me. You know, you had my boss on, my former boss on earlier, Congressman Cleaver, and Rev, he used to say all the time, if someone does not wash their hands, they are a bad person. I think that is so true. That's disgusting.
Yeah,
that's
it is.
disgusting.
And what is enlightening, Jason, is we never knew Angela had a boss. Angela Rye and Jason Johnson, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rev.
Coming up, an emotional day in the Aaron Hernandez murder trial. The victim's girlfriend takes the stand. Plus, Robin Williams' widow and kids fighting over his estate. The Justice Files is next.